Hello, everybody. We're live here. Thank you for coming to this session. I'm so excited for this presentation. I'm here with Michal Eisikowitz, and it's such an honor to have you. Michal is an internationally published writer with over 70 published magazine features to date. She's the author of 2 books, and she's just a genius copywriter. I've looked at her site and her work, and I'm just in awe of what you do. Her focus is on results-oriented copywriting, and she turns her clients into winners. And today, for Resilience 2020, she will be talking about the top 3 needle-moving steps that exploded her business and changed her life. So we're all excited to hear from you and to take what we can from this session. For everybody who's watching, you can type your messages and questions in the chat. And let's get started. Take it away, Michal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Morgan, for that intro. Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off this presentation from 2K to 20K in 18 months. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds like something I made up, but it's a true story, real life. In fact, I'd like to start with my actual story. So come back with me 36 months ago. I had just recorded a podcast on one of the most popular copywriter podcasts out there. It's called the Copywriter Club podcast. And I felt this awful pit in my stomach. I turned to my husband and literally said, that was the stupidest thing I ever did. I felt sick. Here I am. This is like this hugely popular podcast with all-star lineup of copywriters and experts sharing their knowledge and insights. And why did I agree to get on the podcast? I'm nothing major. Why did I think I had what to share? I shared no mind-blowing tips, no game-changing insights, no brilliant secrets. All I did was tell my story, the story of my career change. And I went to sleep that night feeling sick. But what happened next shocked me completely, because almost as soon as the podcast went live, the feedback started pouring in, and it came for weeks and months. People actually messaged me right and left on LinkedIn to my email saying, wow, your story was so inspirational. I've listened to it 3 times. And I was floored. I was completely floored. I didn't understand what was happening here. And then the craziest twist in the story was that at the end of the year, when the podcast hosts Rob Marsh and Kira Hug did a roundup of which were their most downloaded episodes for that year, what emerged was that my very humble, no brilliant secrets episode was the most downloaded episode of the year. And I was confused. My story had 0 glitz, 0 glamour. There was no fateful conversation or flash of clarity or amazing secret that exploded it all. What I realized is that what people found super compelling was my transformation, the before and after. Because 36 months ago, my life looked completely different. 36 months ago, my daily schedule was downright stressful. I was working 3 different jobs: journalist, agency copywriter, and part-time speech-language pathologist. And on top of that, I had 4 kids, including a full-time nursing baby, 4 little kids, a full-time working husband. I was working out of the house, rushing to get the paraphernalia up, waking up at 5:30 to get it all done. To top it all up, I was not earning very much. I had very limited household help. So in the little free time I had, I was taking care of my home, taking care of my kids, and doing all the cooking and cleaning stuff I absolutely hated. Bottom line, my daily schedule was incredibly stressful. And what about my career satisfaction? It was rock bottom low because I was working hard in 3 different directions and mastering none. So I had what I call scattered brain syndrome, where you feel fragmented and confused. You're not giving the world your absolute best because you're not focused. Your focus is diluted and scattered. I was working so hard in 3 different directions and really mastering none. Deep down, I knew I was not giving the world my best, but I felt stuck and too scared to rock the boat. And what about my bank account? So I was working 36 months ago, 5 to 6 hours a day, and earning on average $2,000 a month. The pay was pathetic. And what's interesting was that I had really hit the ceiling in each of my respective jobs. My editor loved my work. The parents loved me. I was doing well in the jobs in terms of the satisfaction of the people around me, but I had hit the ceiling and I was starting to feel resentful because when the value you bring to the table doesn't match up with the compensation you're getting, you start resenting it. Bottom line, I was working really hard and earning very, very little. So as we all know, on Instagram, life is perfect, right? So this was my life on Instagram 3 years ago. 4 delicious kids, beautifully dressed, everything is amazing. In reality, this is what my house looked like on a rather frequent basis. We won't go into how often, but my life was a mess, both literally and figuratively, because I was all over the place and very, very stressed out as a mother, as a wife, as a person, as a professional. I remember staring at my computer screen and struggling. I was debating whether to join this incubator. It was a business incubator for copywriters. By then, I had been working for an agency as a copywriter for about 7 years. And I was debating if I should take this business incubator program, which would teach me how to build my business. And I stared at the screen. This program, it was a 3-month program, cost $1,200. And I remember thinking, this is an insanely huge investment. Should I do it? Should I not? I was earning so little that this felt like a humongous, humongous expense for me. Today, 36 months later, things have completely turned around for me. Today, I sit at the beach all day, drink martinis while working only 2 hours each day and watching as $65,000 a week rolls into my bank account. Not quite. And the people who tell you that, don't buy it. I've got a bridge to sell you. But my income and my quality of life have increased dramatically. And I want to tell you how. In terms of my daily schedule, I have a comfortable home office. I work all day, every day out of my office doing the same thing, writing effective, high-converting copy for my clients and teaching other copywriters to do the same. In terms of my career satisfaction, before the career satisfaction, this is my housekeeper who is my rock, and she does anything and everything in the house because now that I'm earning more, I don't have to be busy with all that stuff and I'm not stressed out with all the tasks I hated. So she is the person who saves my sanity and who I love so very much. In terms of career satisfaction, I have a single focus. All day, every day, I am writing effective copy and teaching others to do the same. So I am not scattered or diluted. I'm speaking at very, very interesting stages worldwide, sharing my journey, sharing what I've learned along the way. And the clarity and relief of finding that one thing that really speaks to me, that one career that energizes me and that brings out my strengths, what a relief, what a joy, instead of trying so hard and pushing so hard in 3 different directions. And of course, my bank account. Now we're getting juicy, right? So today, my average monthly income has grown by 1,000% as compared to March 2017. I charge $2,000 a day for my copywriting 1-day intensive, which means, like I said, I'm able to outsource all the stuff I don't like doing. Overall, thanks to building this business, my quality of life has enormously improved in so many ways. So why am I sharing all this? Why am I sharing all these gory details with you right now? Well, obviously, because I want to join the ranks of obnoxious business owners out there who feel the need to dispose of all sense of class and share their personal finances with the world, right? I'm sharing this with you because I now know that rapid growth and transformation are possible. And I want the same for you. So I sat down and figured out the top 3 things that most contributed to this rapid growth. And let's get into them right now. You ready? Here we go. Transformation step number 1 for me was community. What jump-started my entire journey was joining that program that I had been debating about, becoming a member of a trusted group of high-achieving copywriters, first through a business incubator, then through a high-level mastermind of expert copywriters. And if you're sitting in this virtual room right now, you get it. You've invested a full day to learn from and hang out with other entrepreneurs and learn from them. You get that relationships and networking and ongoing learning are key. But I want to get more specific. So I was in this accelerator program. I was in this think tank mastermind for years. And I paid a lot of money to be in these programs. What's interesting is that on the sales page of the mastermind program, there was this great line: a mastermind for ambitious copywriters who aspire to be the dumbest person in the room. And I remember reading the sales page and thinking, that is me. How does she know? I will literally be the dumbest person in the room if I sign up to this community. And I remember when I did actually sign up and I joined Slack, and everyone in the group is introducing themselves and their specialty and their business accomplishments and achievements. I stared at the screen and said to myself, what are you, crazy? You crazy person, what did you get yourself into? Michal, you are out of your league. But I stuck it out. I stuck it out mostly because I paid the deposit, but also because I'm not a quitter. I put on a brave face and I decided I was going to make the most of it, even if I was the dumbest person in the room, which I probably was. The results were that my business exploded, and here's why. Here's what you get from being part of a high-level community of experts who are a little bit more advanced than you. On a simple level, obvious level, critiques. If you choose well, the professionals in your community will not just be yes men. You're so great, you're so wonderful. They will tear apart your work, rip it apart, and force you to do better, be better, perform better. Insanely valuable. Now, this kind of feedback doesn't apply as neatly across all industries and spaces, but for many service providers like me, especially creatives, it does. Do you have objective expert professionals reviewing your work fairly regularly? Do you have someone more experienced giving you that detailed feedback? That kind of guidance is more valuable, literally, than any course you could take in your life. The other thing the community gave me was advice. And here's a fact, all these little bits of advice from smart people add up. So whether it's, should I use PayPal or Stripe, to deeper questions like, my spouse thinks I work too much and I'm falling apart, you have people who've got your back and save you so much stress and heartache by sharing what's worked for them and what hasn't worked for them. So they help you avoid mistakes because they've been there, done that. Relationships. When you're in a group like this over time, you build real lasting relationships. And good relationships, as we know, always lead to amazing things, whether that's referrals, collaborations, partnerships, opportunities that you would not have access to otherwise. The community gave me mentoring. Any good community is led by strong mentors, credible, supportive, full of sound advice. For me, it was these strategy calls with the mastermind leaders that gave me the clarity I needed to strategize right and direct my business the way I wanted it to go. But let's go deeper. What does community give you? It gives you confidence. Before I joined this mastermind, I had this vision of an A-list copywriter being this untouchable Wizard of Oz genius, an introverted genius with mysterious and secret powers, someone who I could never become. Once I joined the group and saw the work of my colleagues up close, I remember thinking, this is really solid work, but with some hard work on my part and serious hustle, I can do this too. This is not beyond me. It wasn't untouchable anymore. And of course, when stellar professionals, when experts review your work and give you positive feedback on it, that gives your imposter syndrome a real kick where it counts, and it gives you this newfound confidence that spills over into every part of your life, into every conversation you have with your client, into every interaction. It spills into the sales calls. Your clients feel that confidence, they trust you more, which makes the whole process that much smoother and more enjoyable. Being in a community of like-minded entrepreneurs gives you a business mindset. It forces you to stop thinking like a freelancer in sweatpants and start thinking like an entrepreneur and strategist. So you stop thinking of your work as this cute, convenient home gig, and you start thinking about your business as a living, breathing, scalable entity that can grow exponentially and powerfully enrich your life. It gives you money mindset. So I don't know how many women are listening to this call, but research shows that women in particular across the board tend to underestimate their abilities and undercharge. And I am a textbook example of that. When I first joined this mastermind group, I was in a constant state of sticker shock, not just from the cost of the program, which was $550 a month, but from what my peers were charging. $10,000 for a 6-page website, $5,000 for name development, $350 for one email. I remember thinking, are you serious? Is this for real? Today, I am charging these prices and more. And sorry for getting all woo on you, but I'm starting to believe in this stuff because it's thanks to people around you who project attitudes of abundance. What are those attitudes? Attitudes like, there are clients out there who will pay you that kind of money for your value. There is enough business and money out there for all of us and much, much more. There is no limit to how far your business can go or how far your income can go. These are the attitudes of abundance that rub off on you when you surround yourself with the right people. And lastly, peer pressure, positive peer pressure. Bottom line, if everyone in your group is doing amazing stuff with their businesses, you're like, I need to do some awesome stuff too. And this pressure is what gave me the confidence to leave my existing jobs and do what I call the experiment. I took leave of my speech therapy job, my agency copywriter job, and my journalist position. And I said, for 1 year, I'm going all in on this copywriting business thing. I am devoting all my energy to it, and let's see where it takes me. Well, that's what I did, and I haven't looked back. That is the power of community. That is the power of mentors. So what are the takeaways for you? First of all, be the dumbest person in the room. There is nothing smarter you can do than be the dumbest person in the room. You will gain invaluably by surrounding yourself with those who are smarter than you. If you're feeling intimidated, jump in anyway. The rewards are huge. You want to stay active. If you join a community, this is not like a tanning salon where you walk in, sit in a chair, and come out looking like a model. You need to do the work. You need to take advantage of your time in the group to get a lot done, to get as much guidance as possible, and to get the feedback you need to move you forward. Obviously, that means engaging with the group as much as possible and helping others and giving feedback to others as well. You also want to get vulnerable. Nobody likes that member of the community who's just always touting their successes and talking about how much money they made and how wonderful they are and how much their clients love them. Yes, you want to celebrate your wins, but you also want to get real and vulnerable without oversharing or looking like a dumb person, but being real about the struggles and challenges that come with a business as well. That's the kind of person that real people like, and that's what builds real lasting relationships. So that was transformation step number 1. Moving on to transformation step number 2, LinkedIn. When I started that business incubator 36 months ago, I was a social media nobody. I had zero social media presence, except for an embarrassing LinkedIn profile. And I realized pretty quickly, if I wanted to get this business going in a serious way, if I wanted good and steady leads, I needed to power up on at least one platform. So I chose LinkedIn because it's the most professional platform with the least amount of distractions, and because it's the most popular platform for B2B businesses. As you can see in these stats, LinkedIn is the #1 platform for B2B marketers. Now, LinkedIn has this stubborn reputation for being a fuddy-duddy, stuffy, buttoned-up, nerdy platform, a place where lame people come to post boring stuff. But it's really not true. It's changed a lot in recent years. It's become a buzzing, personality-friendly hub for freelancers, B2B business owners, and it has a huge opportunity for lead generation. And I'll talk about that shortly. So what did I do? I began by optimizing my profile. Why? Because all roads lead to your LinkedIn profile. Great content will cause people to go check out your profile. Direct messages or in-mail will lead them to check out your profile and learn more about you. Engagement on LinkedIn groups will lead them to check, or on other people's posts, will lead them to check out your profile. When you do good work, when you catch people's attention, they want to learn more about you, which leads them to your profile. Your profile has to convince the lead to move forward in their relationship with you. And if you're driving warm leads to a less than optimized profile, what you've done is you've just stopped them in their tracks before they've even hit your website or considered messaging you directly. And that's no good. So some people dive straight into posting on LinkedIn and getting a networking without optimizing their profile, but that's not a good idea. This is the ideal LinkedIn funnel. You want to optimize your profile first. Then you start posting great content. Then you build your network with quality people. And then you deepen those relationships with direct messaging until they turn into actual leads and business. This is how the LinkedIn funnel works. Now, here's a secret. Even if LinkedIn is not your platform, does not speak to you, and you're like, I'm an Instagram person, I do B2C stuff, I do very visual stuff, not going to go for me, not going to work for me, LinkedIn. The secret is that your LinkedIn profile is still your online resume and reputation. Anyone considering doing business with you is going to check out your LinkedIn profile after Googling your name. For many of us, when someone Googles your name, your LinkedIn profile shows up #1 or #2 in the search results. It's what determines if your prospect is going to move forward in their relationship with you. So your profile has to be in shape no matter what, even if you're not going to be active on LinkedIn at all. And you want to look at your profile as a mini sales page. It has to tell people very quickly, very concisely, and very compellingly who you are, what you do, and why they should care. So what I did was with my profile, and this is what I recommend to students and people who come to my LinkedIn classes on how to optimize your profile, is you start with your HHH. These are the 4 elements of a high-performing profile. So the first H, headshot. You want a crisp, professional headshot. It should inspire trust. If you don't already have one, invest $200, $300 in a good one. Do not use a shot from a family celebration or a wedding. Do not use a shot where someone else's hand or beard is in the picture. Do not use a shot of yourself with a cat or on a family trip. You want crisp and professional. The next most important element, the next H, is a header image, that background banner that's right behind your headshot. If you still have that blue generic LinkedIn background banner on your profile, what you're shouting to the world is, hey, I'm passive. I'm not intentional. I just stick with the default. Not a good look for your personal brand. You want to take advantage of this prime real estate and brand it. Maybe you want to put the URL to your website. Maybe you want to have some kind of tagline. You certainly want to brand it, make it unique, memorable, and reinforce whatever branding it is that you have across all your marketing materials. The third H is a headline. You want a tight, SEO-friendly, intriguing headline that gets me to click on your profile and learn more about you. So what this line has to do is A, communicate clearly what you do, but also have some kind of intriguing twist or benefit that is compelling enough for me to want to learn more. So what Nikita did here is she was very clear, copywriter and marketing strategist. This way, #1, people know exactly what she does easily. They don't have to think about it. It's not too clever. Number 2, she's going to rank in LinkedIn searches for copywriter or marketing strategist. So the SEO piece is important. But she also has this creative, intriguing twist where she's very focused on the number one benefit she brings her clients, helping architects win more and better projects. That is very compelling to her ideal client, an architect. The 4th H is the hook, an engaging, informative summary that starts with a hook. If you don't grab leads with your first 2 sentences on this summary, they will not click the button to read through the whole summary. You've lost them. So you want to start off with a bang. Do not start off with jargon. Do not start off with something that's very centered around you and yourself. Think about your customer and what's going to excite them and get them to read more. So here, how does Nikita do it? She says, I get it. You're busy running your architecture practice. The last thing you have time for is marketing. She's empathizing with her client and connecting with them in a real way right from the get-go. Notice how she's focused on them, and she doesn't start by talking about herself and her experience and everything that's so wonderful about her. Once I perfected these 4 H's, and this is something I recommend anyone do if they want to optimize their profile, I followed this sales funnel. I optimized my profile, I built my network, and I created great content. Now, really, steps 2 and 3 happen simultaneously, because as you create great content and people enjoy your content, they want to join your network. And so you end up organically building your network as you post great content out there. I also would scroll through my feed every day, and as soon as I saw a great post, I would follow the person immediately and then send them a personalized connection request. I wanted to build my network with quality people who were not only active on LinkedIn, but were posting great high-value content. So I started posting regular content at least 2 to 3 times a week, mostly text-only posts, but video also does really well. If you have a good video presence, go for it. And I engaged around 10 to 20 minutes each workday on LinkedIn. So how did I create this content? The first thing is technical. I batch created. You do not want LinkedIn to take over your life. So every Sunday, I sat down and for 2 hours, I wrote the 2 to 3 pieces of content for that week. It took time. I really worked hard on creating content that was tight and high value, but I had the content, and then all I had to do throughout the week was post it. I pictured my ideal client. So I would think to myself, what would my ideal client love to learn about, love to hear more about? What kind of content excites them? And then whenever an idea popped into my head throughout the week, I would jot it down on a master idea list. And come Sunday morning, I opened up that document and created a few posts based on the topics listed. I started with a hook. This is really important. People scrolling through LinkedIn are doing it while they're eating their tuna bagel or drinking their coffee, and they're doing it as a form of recreation, and they're just kind of scrolling, something caught their attention. You have to grab their attention with that kind of eye-catching, irresistible headline. You need to create a hook that gets them to stop in their tracks and read the post. Give value. Now, everyone talks about giving value, write valuable content. What does that actually mean? So what it means is that what you're sharing is specific and actionable. It's not vague, fluffy sound bites like be the best you can be, or building a business is hard work. Right, we know that. It's content that is concrete advice I can implement in my business right now. And beyond that, it's also easy to read. This is really important because remember what I said about the scrolling? If something is visually overwhelming, if I'm going to have to start reading long paragraphs or blocks of text, no, that's not what I'm on LinkedIn for. I want it to be easy, fast, just delightful to consume. So that means lots of white space, bullet lists, emojis, making your content visually readable. The result of my LinkedIn content system was that 90% of my new clients in the past year have come through LinkedIn. So either they came directly through LinkedIn or through referrals of clients who previously engaged my services through LinkedIn. We're talking at least $100,000 in sales alone from LinkedIn alone. And that's just with 2 to 3 posts a week, which is not a crazy, crazy time investment. Every client featured on the slide, and this is not even the most updated slide, so I've got another 10 logos at least in the past few months. Every single client on the slide has come to me directly through LinkedIn, not through a referral. And these do not even include the 5 to 6 leads I got a week that I did not have time for. Remember, this marketing system was totally inbound. I did not do any direct messaging. I did not pitch myself. I just put great content out there consistently. And this inbound marketing system really, really worked for me. So what is the takeaway for you on all this? I am confident that if you optimize your profile and start getting out there on LinkedIn with consistent high-value content, you will start seeing the leads. So let's recap. We spoke about community. That was my first transformational step. We spoke about LinkedIn, my second transformational step. And now we're going to talk about step number 3, which was redoing my website. So at that point, I was posting regularly on LinkedIn. I was getting a fair amount of leads. I was busy. But many of the leads I was getting were poor quality. So the kind of clients who would pay my fees but suck the life out of me. I'm sure some of you can relate. Or the kinds of projects that were okay but didn't excite me and energize me. At some point, I was so embarrassed. I had an old website. I was so embarrassed in my website that I hesitated before showing it to prospects who emailed me because I didn't want them to be repelled by the awful site. And today, I just wish that I had saved that site as a screenshot or a JPEG so I could show it to you. It was so incredibly awful. It was cringeworthy. The branding was juvenile. The messaging was all over the place. And I knew I just had to redo it already. If you're cringing before you send your website link to a prospect you really want to work with, that's when you know it's time to redo your website. You have to just do it. So how did I go about this rebrand and redesign? What are the most important things for you to know if you're considering doing it yourself? Before I go into that, I want to point out that once my website was up, that's when the machine started exploding. So I was getting a fair amount of leads on LinkedIn before then. But the combination of my confidence, which was grown from being part of the community, my built-up LinkedIn presence and authority, and then this highly persuasive, beautiful website, that combination, boom, it caused a crazy high-quality flow of leads. At one point, I was getting 2 to 3 leads a day, most of which were high quality. In fact, several months ago, I took a break from posting on LinkedIn simply because I was booked out for months to come and I did not have the bandwidth or interest in responding to the leads that would inevitably come as I posted on LinkedIn. If you want rapid growth, I strongly recommend this third step of creating a standout, trust-inspiring, conversion-focused website that doesn't just serve as a digital storefront, but actually a sales tool. A website that you'll feel proud to show your prospects and that takes them deeper into the sales funnel. So by the time you get on the sales call, you're not even doing that much selling anymore. So how did this website happen? And more importantly, what do you need to know? First of all, know that this is a huge undertaking. It will take time. It's an investment. Don't be frustrated if it takes time because that means you're doing something right. What's really interesting is that at least five prospects have literally written to me in some form via the contact form of my website. They've written something like, I was not planning on spending this kind of money, but your website hooked me and here I am reaching out to you. I can't believe I'm even filling out this form. What I learned from that is that a powerful website can really be a 24/7 salesperson that pushes your prospect to actually click and convert and make contact right then and there. I spent at least 75 hours on my branding and website, and I didn't even do the design. It was the strategy of it, the branding of it, the copywriting and directing the designer in executing my vision. So writing, rewriting the copy, gathering testimonials, figuring out the domain names and the back end, doing a photo shoot, getting the right images, working with the designer, it takes time. In fact, in April of 2018, I earned $0 in revenue because I spent the bulk of the month finalizing my website. Was it worth it? Absolutely 10 times over. The flow of leads that I got after putting up my new site is what allowed me to quadruple my prices in the course of a year. So in May 2017, I was charging $1,400 for a 6 to 8 page website, as you can see in this proposal on the right. And in March 2019, I was charging $7,500 for a 5-page website. That's 4 times more. And it's because of the website that I was able to do it, because I was gathering much higher quality leads who were prepared and interested in investing in an expert copywriter who was able to create that kind of website for herself. You also want to develop as much clarity and vision before you start. I got this advice from a mentor. I started a Pinterest board and just started plopping in for 5 minutes a day visuals and images and branding that spoke to me. So by the time I engaged my designer, I just shared them on the Pinterest board, and they already had a really good vision of what I wanted, what I had in mind, and what would work best for my brand. So it wasn't this process of like, oh no, what did they create for me? I already had a pretty good vision at the start of the process. What's interesting is that there's a famous copywriter out there, Jacob McMillan, and he wrote an article, Top 10 Copywriter Websites of 2018, and mine actually ranked #1 on his blog post. And when he wrote the article, he estimated that the site cost me $10,000 to create, because the branding and the copywriting and everything was quite sharp. In fact, the website actually only cost me around $2,500 for the design. And of course, the copywriting for me was done on my end. But the point is that the reason it came out looking so polished, in my opinion, is because I had spent the time refining my vision before the fact. So I wasn't working on fine-tuning stuff in real time. I already had that vision and strategy going into it. The other thing you want to do is choose the right designer. You're going to be spending a lot of time and back and forth with this person. So spend time getting referrals, checking out samples, scheduling conversations. Don't jump into things. You're going to be spending a lot of time with this person, and you want to absolutely love what they create. So worth investing the time to make sure you've got the right fit. You want to get critiques from smart people. This is really important, especially if you're going to write your own copy. My copy went through at least 3 versions and critiques from 25 different copywriters in my community before it went live. And those critiques were priceless. They made me work really hard. Sometimes I got frustrated and I was like, oh, I just want to get the site up already. Stop making me crazy. But ultimately, all that fine tuning and tweaking really created a much better final product. So take a deep breath, get critiques and feedback from smart people, and refine some more. Lastly, you want to productize your services. You want to create packages. Now, packaging deserves a talk or even a course of its own. The reason I'm mentioning it here is because redoing my website forced me to finally take that step of productizing my services. For months in the back of my head, I knew I should do it. I knew it would streamline the sales process, but having to actually write out the services page forced me to do it. Now, I had already started niching down to websites. I took it a step further. I narrowed that to B2B and SaaS websites. I created 3 tiers within that service, and then 2 other packages, a lower entry package and then a day rate package for people who want to engage me very fast and for a quick win. My prospects loved it. Not only did it make the sales process much easier on my end because I'm not creating custom proposals, but it also gave them something to choose from. It gave them this frame of reference. They loved being able to see my offerings at a glance. It just made the negotiation, sales, and proposal process so much simpler because of these ready-to-go packages. And unless you need something very customized and I really want to work with you, the process is so streamlined. Really worth taking the time to figure out if you can productize your services in some way. So let's sum up the takeaways. I went from earning $2,000 a month to $20K in 18 months, a 1,000% increase that has sustained itself and grown. And the 3 most needle-moving steps for me were becoming part of a strong, smart community of like-minded expert professionals, building my authority on LinkedIn with solid content, an optimized profile, and an engaged following, and redoing my website, creating a website with targeted copy, on-brand visuals, and packages. Remember that Copywriter Club podcast that I mentioned at the beginning of this talk? When I finished that podcast, I felt sick because I wondered if I shared anything of value with the world. Today, when I speak at this virtual conference and other conferences across the world, I no longer question the value of my story, because what I've learned from this journey is that rapid transformation and growth is possible. Deep down, we all want to believe that we can build something beautiful with a lot of hard work without waiting 10 years. And if a 30-year-old mother of 4 can 10 times her income in the course of a year and a bit, I'm confident that you can too. Thank you so much for listening. And